So the way we see digital is that it can be any of these four areas: social, mobile, analytics, and cloud. So let's see how financial companies can leverage. I think on social, I don't think it's huge upside for financial services companies because you want client confidentiality. But what it can do is that banks can actually use the data in the consumer space and try to, for example, there are many countries which still don't have credit bureaus, right? So perhaps this information, the social information, can be used in terms of lending. I mean, when you lend money to them, perhaps that's kind of relevant information. On mobility, clearly, as I mentioned, I think banks have to go mobile. They need to have an app strategy. I haven't seen any bank these days which doesn't have any digital or app strategy. So banks are moving towards that. Add more kind of features. I think the good news is that I think the companies in Asia are a bit advanced. Why is that? Because they don't have these problems of legacy, right? Unlike in the US, where I think they have to, it takes multiple years to revamp the entire IT infrastructure. I think some of these companies in emerging markets are quite fast, flexible. They don't have to deal with the legacy system. So I'm pretty impressed when I look at Asia's mobile strategy. On analytics, I think banks are one of the most serious stakeholders, both in terms of using the data and also in terms of providing visualizing software. And this is not only analytics, it's not only about trying to maximize revenues, but you also use this to lower your expenses. And we have seen many cases banks trying to target the right customer and also internally use the analytics so that ultimately, whether it's in the reporting or many other areas, they're trying to efficiently or improve their efficiencies. On cloud, I think it's a bit of gray area. There are some countries which are regulators which actually are okay with cloud, transition to cloud. There are some regulators which strictly wants entire information to be stored in the data center within the country. So I think banks per se would like to also move towards cloud given the significant cost advantages, but it's also a question of security and depends on how regulators in each of those countries actually promote the usage of cloud. So bottom line, I think there are two areas where I think banks are clearly in quite kind of at fairly advanced stages of using the digital technologies, which is mobile and analytics, and whereas cloud and social is more select applications. But at the end of the day, as I said, 40% of the discretionary spending is incrementally shifted towards these four digital areas. And that trend will continue. And if you also see the results of some of the enterprise IT companies, the last 3 to 4 years, global enterprise IT spending, which is around 1.2, 1.3 trillion, it's kind of stagnant because companies are actually trying to allocate or shift their spending towards more kind of digital services, and at the same time trying to cut back on their legacy IT spending. So the maintenance spending is kind of stable to going down, whereas the discretionary spending on these services is going up, and more so pronounced in banks. So I think that trend will continue.